Hello class, and welcome to Excel, Working with Long Worksheets. My name is Bill Berquist, and I'll be your instructor for this lesson. Topics covered in this lesson will cover the following: freezing and unfreezing panes, perform single and multi-level sorts, apply filters with text, numbers, and dates, creating calculations by viewing status bar data, creating subtotals, using page setup to include print titles and headers and footers. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, everybody, here we are at our long worksheet, and City Technical College Microsoft Office Specialist Exam Results. This is a fairly long worksheet. The first thing you want to do is, when you're working with a big worksheet, is explore it a little bit, okay? You want to see how tall the worksheet is, how wide the worksheet is. A couple things I don't like about this worksheet: I have these blank rows between them for whatever reason. Maybe somebody was trying to sort them or something. Yeah, I got blank rows everywhere, all the way down to row 166. Okay, so not too long of a worksheet, it's kind of long, a little over 150 rows. Let's go ahead and fix the empty rows first. Most people would go to each row and delete the row, maybe highlight a couple cells, and then delete rows. Okay, but it's kind of a cooler, let me undo that. There's a cooler way to do it. All right, I'm going to highlight maybe one or two rows above here, and I'm going to highlight all the way down to row 166 or whatever it was. Let's see here. There we go, maybe about like that. Then I'm going to hit the F5 key, which brings up the Go To dialog box. Go To. And I'm going to click Special, and I'm going to click Blanks. And I'm going to click OK. And now just those cells are highlighted. Just the blank cells. Now I can go to Delete and then Sheet Rows, and they're all gone. Okay, they're all gone. Alright, so worksheet's looking a little bit better now. Let's see, I've got the student name, student ID, what program they're in, what exam they took, when they took the exam, and what their score was. Looks like I've got an empty column over here for pass-fail. So I want to see pass-fail over here. So we'll do a simple if statement, equals if. The if statement's definitely on the certification exam, so you want to know how to do your if statement. And I have a separate video just for if statements. Equals if the score is greater than or equal to 700, comma, pass. Actual words are always in quotation marks, comma, quotes, fail, close quotes, and I'll hit enter. There we go. And 969 is a pass, so that looks good. I'll center align it. Now most people click and drag the fill handle down to copy it, but you don't have to. Cool way: place your mouse on the fill handle and double click, and it's filled all the way down. Alright, looks good. Alright, now the next thing I want to show you is freezing and unfreezing the panes. Sometimes when you scroll down a worksheet, when I scroll down a worksheet, my column headings disappear and the worksheet heading disappears. Well, we can freeze the panes. I'm going to place my mouse cursor on A5. Whenever you freeze the panes, everything above the cursor will stay frozen when I scroll. So I'll go to View, and then Freeze Panes again, and I get the solid line going across the row here. Now when I scroll down, row 4 stays put. Rows 1 through 4 stay put. Okay, you can also scroll across if you want the column to stay put. I'll go to Freeze Panes and Unfreeze Panes, and I'll put my cursor here, and when I freeze the panes, everything above the cursor and to the left of the cursor stays put. I'll actually go to C5 because I want the student name and the student ID to stay frozen when I scroll off the screen. Okay, when I scroll off the screen. So let's see here. I'll go to freeze panes, and now everything to the left, columns A and B, and rows 1 through 4 are frozen. And I'll scroll across over here. Now, on my certification test for Excel, it actually said freeze. It didn't tell you to freeze the panes. It might. Okay, I'm going back probably 8-9 years ago when I took my Excel test, and it said use the feature that'll keep rows rows 1 through 4 from scrolling, and columns A and B from scrolling horizontally. Okay, so vertically would be your worksheet title and your column headings, and then scrolling horizontally would be your column headings. And then make sure row 100 is visible and columns AA and AB are visible. So you would just scroll across here, and there's columns A and B. Then I would just scroll down and make sure row 100 was visible. There it is, row 100. Okay, and then columns AA and AB or something. Then you would just go to the next task. You wouldn't save the file unless it tells you to. On the certification test, never save the file unless it specifically says save the file or save the workbook. Okay, all right, I'll unfreeze my panes. Freeze panes, unfreeze panes. And that takes care of that. Okay, so we entered in an if statement, we deleted some empty rows, and we learned how to freeze and unfreeze the panes. Let's sort the data. Sorting is very, very simple in Excel. Now, I know there's a few different ways to do it. People like to use right-clicking and whatnot, but I like to use the ribbon, especially if you're new to Excel, because you really, 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 really need to know the ribbon for your certification test. It's a timed test. You don't want to spend, 7 minutes looking around for one little rinky-dink feature. Okay, so we're going to go to the Home tab. Just like most applications, Excel follows the 80-20 rule. Basically, 80% of what you do really only involves 20% of the features. So most of our tasks here are done in the Home tab. And let's say I want to sort. I want to sort my exams by student name, by last name. Okay, you click anywhere in the column, right here, that's good, and I'll go to sort and filter, and I'll pick sort A to Z. There we go, and now all the records are sorted. Common misconception number 1 is that people think you have to highlight the whole database to sort your data. Olden days in Lotus 1-2-3, I think you had to do that. Nowadays, you don't have to do that. One thing you want to do is make sure you don't have any empty columns or empty rows in here. Okay, otherwise I think it's only going to sort that one area up against the empty row or column. All right, so make sure you don't have any empty rows or columns. All right, so now it's all sorted. And you can also right-click. I'll right-click anywhere here and go to sort, and I'll pick Z to A, and then Zeller comes to the top. Okay, Zeller comes to the top, and then Adams is down there at the bottom. You can also use the ribbon again, go up here to sort and filter, A to Z. Okay. If you want to sort by the program, simply click on the program, anywhere in the program column or field, and sort A to Z. And then all the AOTs, all the CITs, LPNs, medical assisting. Okay, now it's sorted that way. Okay, now it's sorted that way. Remember, ascending and descending. Ascending is 1, 2, 3. Descending is 3, 2, 1. If you want to sort by score, let's say that you want to see the highest score in your list. I would just right-click anywhere in the score column, sort largest to smallest, and there's your highest score. Okay, your lowest score, go up here, sort and filter. You can do smallest to largest, or you can right-click again. Okay, you can right-click again and sort it that way. What if you want to sort it by multiple columns? Like, let's say you want to sort it by program and then secondarily by exam. Okay, so I'll go to anywhere in the table, doesn't matter where your cursor is, and I'll go to sort and filter, and I'll pick custom sort. And I want to sort it by program first. On cell values, A to Z, you pick your ascending or descending. Then add a level, and I want to sort it by exam. There we go, and that one's A to Z also. be very careful in the certification test that you have the proper orders and the proper columns and the proper orders. Okay, so I'll hit OK, and there we go. So all my AOTs, it's Access, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Word. Then when it starts COT, it's Access again. Okay, so that's how you sort by multiple columns. All right, you can also sort by dates. All right, you can also sort by dates. You can simply click anywhere in the date column, sort and filter, oldest to newest or newest to oldest. There we go, there's oldest to newest. Or you can right click, sort, newest to oldest. There you go. And now they're sorted from newest to oldest. Now, you can also do sorting with your scores. Let's do a little bit different sort this time. Let me see here. Let me right click. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I'm still back on dates. I'm back on dates. Let's right click and go to sort. And you can do a custom sort. Date taken, cell values. You can also sort by cell color, font color. And I'll pick my oldest to newest. Then add a level, sort by exam. Here we go. That one's a little bit different. Okay, so they're primarily sorted by date. Okay, and then by exam. And that's basically how you can sort your data. Now the next thing I want to show you is filtering. Okay, filtering. You can filter basically on 3 levels, text, numbers, and dates. Let's say I only want to see the Excel tests on my screen. I'm going to go to, it doesn't matter where you are, just have your cursor anywhere in the table. I'll click sort and filter and pick filter. And now I get arrows or drop down arrows on my column headings. And I only want to see Excel. So I'll do select all to get rid of all the check marks, then just check Excel and click OK. And now I just see Excel tests. Now I just see Excel tests. You can do multiple sorts. Let's say I only want to see the passing tests for Excel. So I can go right over here, uncheck fail, hit OK. And now they're all Excel tests and they're all passing. Okay, and they're all passing. All right, to clear the filter, you can go back up here to your sort and filter and pick clear, and then all your records come back. Okay, all your records come back. You can do scores. Let's say I want to see all the scores over 900. I can go to my score, number filters, greater than. Look at all these different options you can take here. I'll go to greater than. Is greater than 900. There we go. Now, to know how many records you have, you can always look down here and see how many records. I got 24 out of 148 records are over 900. Okay, over 900. You can also do, say something like between 2 numbers, like all the A students, between 800 and 899. Okay. So I can go over here and do number filters and pick between. And I'll put, let's see, 800 and 899. And I'll hit OK. There we go. And now I have all my scores between 800 and 899. All right, looks pretty good. I'll go up here to sort and filter and pick clear. Common mistake in the real world is sometimes people will apply a filter to their data and then they forget to clear it and then they think their data is all off later on in the day. Hey, where are all my records? Okay, well, you left a filter on. Okay, you left criteria set. Let's try another one here. Let's say somebody calls and says, hey, Bill, okay, what's the average score for a word test? Okay, what's the average score for a word test? Well, I can get all the word exams, pulled out using a filter. All right, there's all the word exams. But I want to see the average score of a word exam. Well, you could highlight all your numbers, and this is cool. A lot of people overlook this. And I'm on the first score. I'm going to place my mouse on the bottom edge and shift double click. And look down there in the status bar. There's my average, 764.8. I'll probably tell the person on the phone it was 765. Okay, what's the average score of a passing word exam? Well, I'll apply this filter. Okay, and they're all word and they're all passing. And I'll shift double click my bottom edge of my cursor. And 821.09, so just 821. Yeah, whenever you highlight a group of numbers, you get a whole bunch of stats down here. I get a count, I get a high, I get a low, I get a high, I get a sum. Okay, you can also right click the status bar and pick whatever it is you want. Okay, min and max and sum and average are all highlighted. Okay, very, very cool. Let's see, let's try another one. I'll go to sort and filter and pick clear. Somebody calls and they want to know what the highest score for the medical assisting program for Microsoft Access that's passing. Okay, so I would first pull out all my MA students, medical assisting. Okay, and what did I say, Excel? I think I did. And the average score for a passing. And just highlight both scores. My average is 884.5, so 885. All right, so that's kind of a neat way to use your status bar to pull out some numerical data and get some calculations without having to use a formula. Okay, without having to use a formula. All right, now the next thing we're going to do are subtotals. Okay, subtotals. Let's say at each break in exam, so I want to group the exams together, and then at the end of each exam, I want to have a page break and maybe get some statistics on that data, and then have another page with the next group and another page with the next group. Okay, so let's do some subtotals. The first thing we're going to do is we can turn off the filter. We'll go to sort and filter and pick filter. There we go. And I'm going to sort my records by exam A to Z. There we go. Now each time an exam ends, like right here, I want to have a page break. All right, so each group of exams, it's on its own page. All the Access are on page 1, all the Excels on page 2, all the Outlooks on page 3, okay, all the PowerPoints on page 4, and all the Words on page 5. Okay, very cool. All right, so I'm going to go up here to Data, and I'm going to pick Subtotal at the very end. Okay, at each change in exam, okay, I want to get an average, so I'll click on Score, and I'll remove Pass Fail. Okay, use the average function, there we go. So at each change in exam, give me an average of the score, and I want a page break between groups. And I'll hit OK, and there we go. Okay, I don't like how those numbers are formatted, so I can just go home, hit comma, and center a line. Let's see, I can copy over here, use my format painter, get rid of my decimals. There we go. So the Access average is 781, Excel average is 798, Outlook is 858. Thought it would do all of them, it didn't. Okay, highlight these two. Okay, and there's the overall average of 781. All right, and that's my subtotals. That's my subtotals. And I can go over here. I've got 3 levels. And let's see here. I can collapse them. Expand and collapse. And there we go. I can print it out just like that. Okay. And looks pretty good. Okay, looks pretty good. To get rid of my subtotals, I'll just go back over here to data, subtotal, and remove all. And all my data comes back. Okay, all my data comes back. All right, now let's say I want to print this thing. Okay, I want to print this worksheet. Let's see here. If I go to print preview, there's how it looks. It's 8 pages. And a lot of stuff I don't like about it. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I don't like that at all. All right, that's a pretty bad printout. When I come out of print preview, I have my page break right over here, my dotted line. And let's say the boss says something like, you know, it looks kind of bad the way it's printing, but there's a couple of columns I don't really need to see. Okay. I really don't need to see the student ID column. So I can just right click my B column up here. Or if I want to use the ribbon, format, hide and unhide columns. There we go. And I don't really need to see the date of the exam either. We can just right click the column heading and hide. There we go. And I'll widen column A a little bit. Let's see, format column width. I'll type in 18. There we go, looks good. Now if I print preview it, all right, we're looking pretty good. We're down to 4 pages. Okay, the next thing I don't like is the fact that I don't see my column headings on each page. I don't see my column headings. That's what we call print titles. Print titles. So I'm going to go over here to page layout and click on print titles. That's when I want data printed on every page. It's not really a header and a footer. Okay, and you'll see why in just a couple minutes. Let me go to print titles. Rows to repeat at top. And I'm going to highlight the top 3 rows. That's the 3 rows I want to see at the top of every page. And I'll click here and click OK. Now I'll hit print preview again. There we go. There's page 2, page 3, page 4. I've got my print titles now. All right, maybe I want to have page numbering in the bottom center. So let's see here. I'm going to go to headers and footers, which is under margins and custom margins. There's actually a couple ways to do headers and footers. I'll show you the long way, the cool way. The long way is to page layout and margins, and then come down here to custom margins, header, footer, and then custom header. And in the right section, I want to have my last name. Maybe in the center, I want to have the date. So you can click the little insert date button. You will definitely have to do this on the certification test. So know your little buttons right here for your exam. Okay. I'll hit OK. And I'll hit OK again. Now when I do print preview, there's my date and my last name up there. Now I want to have page numbering down here at the bottom. So I'll go back over here, and here's another way that you can do your headers and footers. You can go to the View tab on the ribbon and pick Page Layout. Then I can click right down here, and there's Add Footer. All right, and I'll type in page underscore, and I'll go to the Design tab, and I'll pick Page Number. And it puts a code in there. So my footer is going to say page 1, page 2, page 3. And I'll click anywhere in the worksheet, go back to View and pick Normal. Now when I go to print preview, I've got my page 1 down there, my name and date up here. Looks pretty good. You really want to know your page setup options. So go to page layout, and there's your orientation, your margins, okay, your scale to fit. All right, so there's all your page options right there under the page layout tab. Okay, so that is my headers and footers, and I think my worksheet is looking good. Okay, if you want to bring back those columns that we had hidden earlier, I just sort of do it old school, I guess. I just highlight across the whole worksheet. I'll go to Home. Let's see, Format, Hide and Unhide, and Unhide Columns. Then all the columns come back. And let's see, I'll go to Page Layout, change the orientation to Landscape. Now when I print preview, okay, we're looking pretty good. Okay, all right, so we'll stop here. And we did a lot today. We explored long worksheets, we freeze and unfreeze the panes, we sorted our data, we applied some filters using text, numbers, and dates. We highlighted data and looked at the status bar for status bar data. We did some basic subtotals. We did a page setup. We did some print titles, so my column headings appear on every page. And then last thing we did were headers and footers. Okay, so we'll stop here, and I'll see you for the next video.